Hi everyone, this is Ms. DeLu, and today we're going to have a lesson on Module D, Lesson 2. And it will include both the guided notes digital lesson and the practice activities 1 and 2, which are focused on introduction and conclusion. You're going to want to have your Module D, Lesson 2 digital guided notes in front of you so you can respond to them as we go through the lesson. Our two objectives today are students will organize opinions and ideas in a logical manner by organizing and depicting information logically, and students will justify opinions and ideas using examples, explanations, and terminology by negotiating ideas and knowledge with peers and teachers. Our first ATL skill is negotiate ideas and knowledge with peers and teachers. Describe a time when you negotiated a problem with someone. Negotiate means to have a conversation in order to compromise. Go ahead and write your response right here. Now, just to review the 4 L's, I want you to think about which one of these 4 L's is the hardest for you to do. Look at the person you're speaking with. Lean toward them slightly, listen actively, or lower your voice. Go ahead and highlight which one of these is the most difficult for you. Remember to always be open-minded. If you still disagree, use the appropriate sentence frames to express your thoughts. This next section is focusing on using academic talk when disagreeing. Disagreeing means that you do not have the same opinion as someone else. When someone disagrees with someone else, they may disagree privately, not share their opinion or opposition, or disagree publicly. They do share their opinion or opposition. When disagreeing, it is important I'm going to go over these 4 suggestions, and I want you to highlight which of these suggestions you think is the most important. Listen to the speaker carefully to make sure you understand what is being said. Be aware of your body language. Arms folded, leaning back, shaking head, making surprised or incredulous expressions with your face. Be aware that all of these express your disagreement in a potentially disrespectful way. Remain calm and rational when expressing your disagreement by responding with reasons, examples, evidence, and questions. And keep a calm and non-aggressive tone. This will ensure that the conversation stays productive and constructive. So please highlight which one of these you think is the most important. So what might it sound like? Here are some sentence frames to help you disagree respectfully. I disagree somewhat or completely. I have a different perspective. I don't share your point of view. My response is different, or my approach is different. Now let's do a little mini practice. Here's the scenario. Your friend Stacy just shared her positive opinion about the movie The Avengers. If you want to disagree with her using academic language, highlight which would be the best response. A, that's a horrible movie. B, you're completely off base. Or C, I have a different perspective. So please stop the video and highlight which one of these you think is the best way to respond using academic language. Okay, so you should have chosen C, I have a different perspective. That is up here as one of the sentence frames. It's a much more respectful choice than A or B. Let's go ahead and scroll down to the next part of the lesson. Our next ATL skill is to organize and depict information logically. I want you to think about how you might logically organize your closet. Stop the video and write your response here. Remember that you can organize and depict information logically in several different ways. Chronologically, spacing between ideas, lumping ideas together, placement of important ideas, and logical image depiction. For this lesson, we're going to focus on how to write an introduction and conclusion. When you write an introduction paragraph, there are a couple of things to remember. So we're going to start with the introduction, and you are going to highlight where you would find the claim in an introduction. Remember that a claim is the main idea or central idea of a paper. It can also be referred to as the argument or thesis or the main purpose. I'm going to review these 3 items here, and you are going to highlight where the claim would be found. Introduction paragraphs provide a brief overview of what will be addressed in the writing. They do not provide lots of detail, just an overview. The last sentence of the introduction paragraph is typically a claim or proposal for what the writer wants to happen. So you should be highlighting it's in the last sentence of the introduction paragraph. Here is a brief outline of how to write an introduction paragraph for your summative assessment. Introduce yourself, provide a brief explanation of what you're writing for, and explain the purpose of the writing. Write the claim. Now we're moving on to the conclusion paragraph. When you write a conclusion paragraph, there are a couple of things to remember. A conclusion paragraph occurs at the end of a piece of writing. They offer a final insight or message for the reader. They might provide a very brief restatement of the purpose or claim of the writing, and they do not introduce new supporting evidence or details. Here's a brief outline of how to write a conclusion paragraph. Restate or rephrase the claim. Thank the reader for their time. If appropriate to the writing, make a polite request that with what you would like them to do as a result of reading your writing. So now we're going to come down and practice this. Module D, Lesson 2, Practice Activity Number 1 is the introduction and conclusion paragraph for Colton. This will be for the Colton issue. This will not be for the city issue, but you're going to use this one as a model for when you write your city introduction and conclusion. So here's our introduction paragraph. The directions are: write your introduction paragraph using the outline below. It will be a minimum of 3 sentences. Dear Ms. Kevorkian, it's going to start like that because this essay will be in the form of a letter. And Ms. Kevorkian is the head of our school, so if we were writing a letter about an issue we saw at Colton, we would address it to Ms. Kevorkian, our principal. Now remember, we're going to introduce ourselves with the grade, class, and teacher. We're going to explain what we're doing in the assignment, so we're going to refer back to our unit statement of inquiry. And we're going to explain the purpose of our letter, which is also our claim. You are going to write exactly what I write. You're not making up your own because we've been using our Colton issue and solution as an example for what you will be writing with your city. So we're going to start with Dear Ms. Kevorkian. I'm just going to copy and paste it down here. And I want you to do the same. Okay, so I'm going to come down here, I'm going to indent, and I'm looking up here, and my first step is to introduce yourself, and I'm going to include the grade, class, and teacher. So I'm going to write this like it's from the whole class. So I'll use the pronoun we. We are in, and then I'm going to the purpose of my example, write Ms. DeLue's class, but if you're in Ms. Granger's, you would write Ms. Granger's class if you were sending this. Ms. DeLue's, and I want to say the grade, so I'll say 7th grade language and literature class. Now I've met this first requirement, and now I need to explain what I'm doing and what the assignment is. And so I'm going to I would review what my statement of inquiry is for this unit, and I will include that here. we've been exploring how people can positively influence the social well-being of their community. That is our statement of inquiry that we learned about at the beginning of the quarter. So now I've got 1 and 2, and I'm going to explain the purpose of the letter, which is also my claim. The purpose of this letter is to communicate our idea of one way to improve the Colton community. Now I've met all 3 of the requirements for my introduction paragraph. Okay, the next step would be my conclusion paragraph, because we've already written our body paragraphs, which include the single issue at Colton and the solution to that issue. So the way we would organize this is that we put the conclusion paragraph at the end. The directions are to use the following outline to write your conclusion paragraph. This should be a minimum of 3 sentences. And we'll have 3 parts to the conclusion paragraph. The first part is to restate or rephrase the purpose or claim. I'm going to thank her for her time and politely request that they consider your issue solution at their next instructional leadership meeting. I'm going to write the conclusion paragraph here, and I want you to copy what I write. Okay, because I'm switching now to my conclusion, I'm going to use transition words in conclusion. And I need to restate or rephrase the purpose or claim. So I'm going to come back up here and check out. It was to communicate the idea of one way to improve the Colton community. And I don't want to write the exact words because I'm saying restate or rephrase. So I'm going to switch up the words, saying this essentially the same thing though. So I'll say, we believe our idea will create a better environment for everyone. Now I'm going to thank her. Thank you for your time. And we also appreciate you presenting this letter to the instructional leadership team, because we would know that she works with them to make the big decisions. For consideration, please contact Ms. DeLue, because this would be coming from the class, not you individually, with any questions. We look forward to hearing from you. Period. I'd read it through again and make sure that that sounds good. All right, our last activity that you will be doing on your own is doing the highlighting activity, where you identify the different elements of the introduction and the paragraph. So under the introduction, you'll come down and highlight where you introduced yourself in blue, explaining the assignment in gray, and explaining the purpose or letter claim in pink. And then for the conclusion, you will restate you'll highlight, restate the purpose or claim in pink, and thank her for her time in gray, and then blue, where you're politely requesting that they consider your suggestion. A quick review of our objectives were to organize opinions and ideas in a logical manner by organizing and depicting information logically. That was reviewing our introduction and conclusion. And students will justify opinions and ideas using examples, explanation, terminology by negotiating ideas and knowledge with peers and teachers. And we reviewed how to disagree respectfully. have a good next step to writing your own paragraphs.